Good morning. Welcome to our August 6th weekly COVID-19 update briefing. Unfortunately, the news is not too good for our part of the country. We are now up to 2,275 positive cases. That's an increase of almost 300 positive cases since last week, 297 to be specific. And also we've had two more deaths, bringing our total for the parish at this point, as of today, to 75. Yesterday, for example, we had 83 positive tests, so we're still having a lot of things to do if we're going to get ahead of this and come out of it and improve our economy and save lives for our people. The governor has stated this past Tuesday that because of this, it's necessary that we remain in phase 2 for another 21 days because we're simply not meeting the gating criteria to progress. So we will remain in phase 2 until August the 28th, or unless the governor takes some action to different sooner than that. And again, the reason that we're not being able to advance, we're simply not meeting the gating criteria to move to the next phase. That's those things such as a downward trajectory in the number of flu-like symptoms, the COVID symptoms, increase in hospitalizations, and those things. We have to have for a 14-day period, we have to have a downward trajectory. There have been some good signs the last few days, but not nearly enough. We're still one of the highest in the nation in per capita deaths per thousand. So the governor says this should be an alarm bell for everyone. He also remains concerned that although we seem to have enough beds, we may have a shortage statewide of people to staff those beds, so it's of concern to all of us. Well, the big issue now seems to be that wearing a mask, bar closures, and social distancing and crowd size non-compliance are those things which are preventing us to move into phase 3, and that's the reason we're continuing to stay in phase 2. So what can we do? Well, we can follow the prevention and mitigation procedures that we've talked about so much. And just as a reminder, such things as wearing a mask, a face covering when you're in public or in mass transit, wash your hands for 20 seconds, wash them thoroughly, cough or sneeze into your elbow, avoid touching your face. If you're sick, stay home. Disinfect surfaces you may touch or items, rails, such things, and follow the advice of your medical provider. The businesses have been tasked to be responsible for implementing these procedures. And the governor has stated that any plan to keep the economy open is going to depend on widespread mask use, and that's what we keep urging all of us to do. Nearly 700 Louisiana bars, restaurants, and other businesses failed their inspections in July. These inspections were performed by the State Fire Marshal's Office, the Louisiana Office of Alcohol and Tobacco Control, and selected fire prevention bureaus through the state. The general policy at the state is 3 strikes and you're out. If you've had 2 warning or pointing out to you 2 different instances that you were not following the policy, the third time you get it, you will have your permit taken or some other appropriate action. However, if something is done that's egregious and blatant, it can happen immediately without the courtesy calls. So that's the current policy in the state. And as a reminder, everybody at the age of 8 and above should wear masks in public. It's suggested that kids younger than 8, up to 2, should be considered to wear a mask, but it's not mandated, just recommended. At this point in time, I'd like to have our 2 chiefs of our public safety departments make their remarks, and Chief Zagone will lead us off.
Once again, I'd like to say thank you to the first responders for all you do out there on the front lines. We're still doing, as always, we're procuring more PPE, and so far we have good PPE amounts for our men and women on the fire department to do our transports and take care of our patients. The one thing I'd like to ask is please vote yes on August 15th to support your first responders, fire and police, for the tax renewal. Thank you.
Yes, good morning. I would also like to thank the first responders and the medical community who are on the front line of the combating this pandemic. I would like to continue to thank the citizens of Bossier and Bossier Parish for adhering to the guidelines set forth by the governor. Your cooperation in that is allowing us to handle our calls for service like we normally do and not have to be concerned with taking action or enforcement in any type of situation such as mask wearing, such as that. I would also like to ask you for your continued support and come out and vote yes for the millage renewal. As stated, it is a renewal. It's not a new millage. So thank you for your support. We ask you for your continued support. Thank you.
So what can we do to save lives and help our economy start to improve? Well, what we can all do is what we've said repeatedly, and that's wear a mask when in public, wash your hands frequently for 20 seconds, wash them thoroughly, comply with the social distancing of at least 6 feet, and avoid crowds. If we do these things, we will save lives and we will accelerate our ability to move to phase 3 and help our economy start getting back on its foot. I have personally observed significant improvement in our citizens and guests in the city wearing their masks, and that's a good sign. But I just hope we'll all continue and comply with those preventive and mitigation practices. And I just urge all of us to heed the warnings of what's going on if we don't follow these protocols for wearing masks and the mitigating and prevention procedures. I want to thank all of you for having done this, and I again urge you to continue to do so. And our next briefing on this subject will be next Thursday, August the 13th. Thank you.